I actually heard about the crisis challenge since I was a freshman. A lot of people who had done it basically said you feel really immersed into this situation, and so that was something that really intrigued me.
Seeing the auditorium really full of students excited to participate in it, that magnified my excitement. That's when it really started to hit me that here we go, this is about to start, and that it was going to be a really exciting journey.
Good evening. Welcome to the Leadership Crisis Challenge. The Leadership Crisis Challenge is one of the most high-stakes environments to put you on your feet and to lead in situations where you're going to be taken to the test. Under your leadership, a crisis is going to emerge.
We knew it was going to be a crisis, so I was already very, very stressed. I think it was interesting how quickly I was able to immerse myself.
You are all C-suite executives of Driver. Today, the company launches its first fleet of autonomous vehicles. Good luck.
Often in class, we're given assignments, we're given cases where there's a somewhat correct solution the professors want us to work toward, but in this crisis, we didn't have anything. There were no guidelines, there were no correct next steps. We had to figure out what those next steps were. I didn't know anyone on my team, so I think I was a little bit excited about that.
We tried to have just a casual conversation, try to figure out, okay, who wants to do what? Where do we see our strengths and weaknesses?
It was really interesting because we all came from pretty different backgrounds, both academically and culturally.
I would say at first we were all just getting to know each other, kind of, in that honeymoon stage. And then that first email came and we had to make all these types of decisions. And of course, they were very big decisions that could impact the company.
I just got to 25th and Broadway and this seems really bad. The ambulance is here. People are gathering. It's a massive crowd. I can't see the cyclist, but I've overheard that she's still alive. It was really badly beaten up.
When we got the first email and the first phone call, that's when everything started to feel very real.
We were a little bit shocked. It was like the calm before the storm, but the storm was already there.
It was really scary because at that point, I felt like that was actually my company and I was representing them. We came together and we said, okay, let's focus, let's make a plan. What are our scenarios? How do we approach this the best way?
It was hectic with Slack going on. There were phone calls, emails. In the real world, you're not just going to be communicating through one forum. You're going to have all these different channels.
I think when the clock hit 10 and we knew we were in the clear, we're like, okay, we need to go home, get a good night's rest because we did have to be up very early the next morning.
I don't know, I didn't go to sleep until 1 a.m. or something. I'm just thinking about the case and what's tomorrow going to bring in, what should I do?
Entering the big house was kind of a reality check. We're not in a Ross study room anymore. It's game time to focus. We were trying to figure out exactly what we would be saying once we stood in front of the board members.
Dressed up, game faces on, I felt great. And it felt like, this is where I'm supposed to be.
I guess the nerves didn't get to us until it was about an hour before we had to go in front of the board.
We were facing this as a team. We all wanted to maintain that togetherness. We weren't entirely sure what their questions would be.
Walking over to the boardroom, we saw some groups still in the rooms presenting, some groups waiting to present, leaving their presentations, and it kind of put everything, more into perspective, hey, it's gonna be us in 2 minutes, so gotta shake off the nerves, get ready.
You walk in and the tension is so thick.
And as the CEO of this company, I have full faith in my people, my C-suite executives, and I understand that although a tragedy has happened, there was no negligence on our part, at least that we could have controlled.
I do think the board was a little bit more intense than I thought.
We killed somebody. That is not a no negligence. Did we make the right engineering decisions? I would say no.
We got caught off guard multiple times, unfortunately.
Definitely a curveball to hear that one of our core solution elements was not something we should pursue.
The Q&A part was the part when things started going a little bit messy.
Have we thought of bringing in a third party?
We have not brought in a third party to do this assessment, and I think that based on how we have tested these.
Why should the consumer rely on our opinion? We just killed someone.
It taught me that in a real situation, it would have been pretty bad.
I would say I felt very relieved that it was over. I was very proud of my team.
It was great to hear from them candidly and outside of their roles as our board members.
Having these individuals who have vast and skillful business backgrounds, but who are also Ross alumni, be willing to come give back to the next generation of Ross students, I think really speaks to the community that we have here at Michigan.
The press conference was like looming, but it wasn't for sure, so we prepared a little bit for that.
Many of you have been asking me all day, when do we find out if we made it to the press conference? Right now. Our first undergraduate team is Driven to Succeed.
My team and I were a bit saddened about not winning and making it to the next round of press conferences.
Of course, we would have loved to be up there ourselves, but I think that every team that participated did a really great job responding to some pretty difficult questions.
It was just so real, like you had real reporters grilling you about what your company did.
Your statement said that the AI made the decision. What gives your machines the right to make such decisions?
We still believe in our mission and in the viability of our technology.
I mean, does this suggest that perhaps computers should not be making these life and death decisions?
It felt like a very professional, very real experience.
It's not really something you can describe to others, I feel like. You really have to just immerse yourself in it.
It was a rare opportunity not every college student gets to have. Being a Michigan Ross student and soon graduate, I'm really grateful for the experience.